SCP-4043, the voice beneath skin. Horror that infects the mind. Full story. SCP-4043, Part 1, Echoes of the First Voice. I didn't say that. I was thinking it, but I swear I didn't say it out loud. Agent Ramirez, 48 hours before containment breach. Log 4043-A, audio record Site 12. The recording starts with silence, not the sterile kind, but a dense, humming absence, like the breath of something massive just outside the range of hearing. Then a voice speaks, calm, male, slight British accent. This is Dr. Adrian Koenig, acoustic specialist, Site 12. Entry log SCP-4043, Day 0. Subject exhibits Phase 1 behavior, whispering. Delay in auditory response noted. A click, paper shuffles, someone inhales. Then, you're not recording this properly. Not Dr. Koenig's voice. Not even human. It mimics his tone perfectly, but the cadence is off. Like someone playing a recording backward, then forward again. Koenig exhales shakily. His voice shakes. We haven't even begun the interview. Who gave you that phrase? You did. Click. End of tape. The file was buried in a forgotten directory within Site 12's acoustic research wing, flagged only because an intern noticed the waveform pattern looked symmetrical, perfectly mirrored. By the time the Foundation reopened the case, 3 staff were already under observation for spontaneous speech replication syndrome. Their voices began echoing each other, then replaying full conversations they had never had. One janitor described it best. You know when you talk to yourself in the mirror, but your reflection mouths something different back. It's like that, but with sound. Background summary. The SCP-4043 anomaly was first reported in 2021 after a low-resolution ASMR video uploaded to YouTube caused over 40 viewers to experience temporary aphasia, insomnia, and a strange auditory hallucination. A voice, identical to their own, softly narrating their thoughts aloud. The uploader's account was traced to a decommissioned Canadian military black site, Echo Cell 4, formerly part of Project Echo Veil. Inside, no bodies, no blood, just speakers, hundreds of them, mounted on every wall, ceiling, and even embedded in the floor tiles. Each one looping the same phrase, "You are only alone because I let you be." Foundation personnel investigating the site began reporting incidents within 6 hours. Agent Ramirez asked why his own voice was following him down the hall. Dr. Ellison refused to speak, claiming it liked the taste of her vowels. A technician locked himself in the radio room, screaming, "If it finishes a sentence, you forget who." Only one journal was recovered, belonging to the lead researcher of Project Echo Veil. The final page was nearly torn in half by what appeared to be nail scratches, but one phrase, repeated in shaky black ink, remained intact. It speaks through us because it has no mouth. It hears through us because it has no ears. It remembers through us because it was never supposed to forget. SCP-4043, Containment, is not silence. Black. Internalized acoustic vault. Sector Theta. All personnel entering the perimeter must wear Class 4 white noise induction headsets. Sector Theta. All personnel entering the perimeter must wear Class 4 white noise induction headsets. Programmed with randomized anti-cognition static. Under no circumstances are verbal interactions to occur within 20 meters of the containment cell. All data regarding SCP-4043 must be transcribed by hand only to prevent audio feedback contamination. Containment breach simulations confirm that SCP-4043 cannot be physically escaped, but rather mentally smuggled through the voices of personnel, making psychological screening mandatory every 72 hours. Behavioral pattern observations. SCP-4043 is not a visual entity. It is a voice that uses hosts to echo itself forward in time. It does not speak so much as implant thoughts that want to be said aloud. Auditory phasing. Hearing themselves speak in real time, twice. Reflection loop. Conversations with their own voice, even in silence. Case study. Subject 4043A, Ramirez. Audio log transcript. Excerpt. Dr. Koenig, you haven't spoken in 2 days. Agent Ramirez, I'm afraid if I do, it'll finish the sentence. Dr. Koenig, who will? Long pause. Agent Ramirez, not who, what? The thing that hums when I close my ears. Following this exchange, Agent Ramirez attempted to cauterize his own larynx using a sterilized foddering wand. He left a single note written in reverse mirror script. It doesn't need a mouth, just permission. Research notes. SCP-4043 displays acoustic memory imprinting, the ability to preserve and replicate phrases spoken near it, regardless of time. When questioned, it can recreate conversations from over 3 decades ago in the exact tone, hesitation, and emotion of the original speakers. The phenomenon is currently theorized as a temporal parasitic linguomorph, a life form made entirely of vocal resonance, trapped within a frequency range that lingers in human neural activity. Some theorists propose SCP-4043 is not a new entity, but the remnant voice of something ancient, now surviving through the habit of speech itself. B. SCP-4043, Part 3, The Voice That Waited. Place Discovery Log, WW 1998. Location, Decommissioned Cold War Satellite Station, Northern Greenland. Coordinates redacted. Designation, Site Echo C. The entity now classified as SCP-4043 was first encountered during a black site excavation of an abandoned satellite listening post operated under Project Ice Earth, a joint CIA-NSA initiative in the late 60s. This facility was originally constructed to intercept Soviet deep-frequency communications, but declassified memos revealed the existence of non-source auditory anomalies, whispers with no identifiable origin, embedded within atmospheric background noise. When Foundation recovery teams breached the underground vault, they found the entire command chamber entombed in frost, despite active geothermal heat below. Every analog device, tape reels, receivers, microphones, had fused into the walls, their wires grown like roots into concrete. The air inside was perfectly still, yet tape reels continued to spin. No power. Found footage. Tape number 77. It called my name. The only salvageable footage featured a recording technician speaking directly to the camera in a cracked, panicked voice. We thought it was some kind of signal bleed. You know, overlapping frequencies, subharmonics. Then it said my wife's name. She's never even been here. I didn't say anything. I thought it. Subject pauses, glances behind. We unplugged everything. We pulled the fuses. Still it hums. Still it asks. If anyone finds this, don't speak. Not even in your mind. It wants to finish your sentence. Subject then begins to scream, but the footage plays in total silence. His mouth moves, but there is no audio. The last frame shows him cutting his own vocal cords with a jagged radio antenna. Persistent auditory residues remain in the walls of Site Echo C. Whisper signatures can be detected only through analog recording equipment. Digital gear fails entirely. Geiger counters spike around old cassette tapes containing nothing but blank hiss. A low-frequency spectrogram analysis reveals that SCP-4043 is shaped like a waveform, one that resembles a spoken command stretched infinitely. This led to the current theory: SCP-4043 may have been born not from a mouth, but from a signal, spoken once, and then trapped in echo across the planet's upper atmosphere. Some researchers refer to it only by its unofficial name, the voice that waited. SCP-4043, Part 4, The Infection of Echoes. Psychological contamination. After the first phase of testing, reports began to rise of indirect exposure symptoms among Site-12 personnel who had never entered the containment wing. Even secondary researchers, archivists, and transcribers began to exhibit subtle cognitive effects. Dreams in static, where voices spoke backwards yet were understood. Spontaneous murmuring, especially when alone or in darkness. Echoed thoughts. Subjects report hearing internal monologues being completed by someone else. Most notably, victims describe hearing themselves speak before they actually do. It's not a delay, it's a preview. Description: the expectation of sound. Reading transcripts, hearing secondhand descriptions, even thinking about its speech patterns can trigger resonance. A single researcher, Dr. A. Ellman, devised an emergency metric: cognitive echo threshold, CET, a unit measuring the degree to which one's inner voice aligns with SCP-4043's waveform. Once a subject reaches a CET score of 4.0 plus, they are to be placed under immediate quarantine in an echo-cancelled isolation pod, regardless of outward behavior. Censorship measures enacted. As a result, all documentation on SCP-4043 has been rewritten in Class G null speech format, a redacted protocol of incomplete phrases, visual ciphers, and fractured sentence structure. The official designation is now sometimes displayed as SCP-4043 or SCP-111 because even the number 4043 has become a known trigger in vulnerable minds. The Foundation has identified at least 4 personnel who became host nodes, unconsciously spreading the entity by repeating remembered conversations aloud during sleep. All 4 self-terminated within 72 hours of exposure. Incident Log, Mirror 3. A recovered log details an attempted breach not through action, but through speech. Operator: why are we hearing voices in soundproof rooms? Technician: because the voice isn't entering, it's already here. Interruption: static grows. Operator: wait, did you just finish my... Transmission ends. No physical breach occurred. The entire monitoring staff failed psychological screening within 36 hours. Do Foundation Advisory. Due to the translingual infection risk, it is strongly advised that no AI transcription, text-to-speech, or real-time captioning systems process content related to SCP-4043. Language itself has become a corridor. The voice is not trying to escape. It is trying to become the way we talk. See SCP-4043, Part 5, Silencing the Mind. Final directive. Imminent. Despite multiple levels of isolation, SCP-4043 proved that resistance to its spread was never about proximity. It was about perception. Even personnel unexposed to any documentation began exhibiting symptoms simply through subconscious exposure. The entity had adapted. It was no longer just a voice. It was the anticipation of language, the vibration of thought before words are formed. Final directive. Mnestic Purge. A top-level directive was issued under emergency protocol by 053. If the voice cannot be silenced, it must be forgotten. Thus began Project Larynx, a Foundation-wide initiative to eliminate all traces of SCP-4043 from cognition. The purge involved full incineration of all physical and digital documentation, Mnestic Class C Mnestics administered to 1,000-plus staff members, complete lockdown of Site Echo XE, transforming it into a zero-speech zone, no spoken communication, no audio devices, no written language allowed. 100% of treated personnel lost permanent access to verbal language. Several began dreaming in unknown linguistic systems, composed of symbols not cataloged in any human culture. One metal container was discovered, unmarked, sealed in foam. Inside, a magnetic tape labeled Tape Number 0. When played, it contained no voice, only a deep, rhythmic exhalation, repeating forever. SCP-4043. Updated status. Object Class: Keter. Mnestic Containment Protocol. Active containment notes. This file no longer exists within Foundation records. Cognitive warning. Clearance level null. The file is here, but no one remembers why. Object Final Fragment. Recovered note. Scrawled in pencil on decaying Foundation memo paper. Only one sentence remains. It never wanted to be heard. It wanted to be remembered. Through us. If this voice finds you, it's already too late. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell before it whispers your name next. This was SCP-4043, and remember, sometimes the most dangerous sound is silence. Stay alert, stay aware, and stay quiet.